Hi, welcome to this video on the Financial Reporting Matrix version 8.2. Everything I'm showing you today is available in production, and details about the features can be found on our GitHub page. I'll link that in the description, and you'll also find a sample file with all the features explained and illustrated on Microsoft App Source. I'll link that in the description as well. So let's jump into Power BI. The first feature is the RowHeaderParent. It's a new feature you can use for conditional formatting, for formulas, and everywhere you can use our functions. So what it does is you can right-click your column header and add a conditional formatting. And then let's say I want to apply formatting to everything that's greater than 0. That's going to be formatted with a green background. But I only want to apply it for certain parts of my report. So I can add a formula condition, and I can type in that the row header, this is the old one, so row header is equal to sales. If I type in that and apply, my sales cell or my sales row for the actual measure is going to be highlighted if it fits the criteria in the conditional formatting. But if I change this from row header to row header parent, sorry, capital P, and click apply, it's applied to all the children of the row called sales. So every row that has a parent called sales. So that means there's no conditional formatting applied to any other parts of the visual, only to this group, and only to the positive values, because that's part of what I added it to. So that's just an additional function you can use for conditional formatting or for creating calculations. The next feature is sign factor, or invert sign factor. So normally when you get data from your accounting system, your ERP system, all your income accounts or all the transactions there are listed as negative numbers. That's just how it is in accounting. But for a reporting purpose, you might want to display these as positive numbers. So instead of taking the negative numbers from your income and add that to the costs and have a negative gross profit like this, meaning you actually make money, you want to flip the numbers, invert the sign for your income. So now you can go into edit mode, right click the row where you want to add it, and select set sign factor. So if I go to sales and I invert that, you can see the 81 million is going from negative 81 to positive 81. That change is also reflected in the row here, which is included, which is a sum. I can go to the formula itself. It's a sum of sales plus other operational income. And if I do the same for other operational income and invert that, then we get the correct calculation for my income. Cost is okay as it is, but my gross profit here, which used to be my operating income plus my operating expenses, needs to change. So if I go in here and say income minus expenses, I get the correct values. If I remove these steps and instead go in and change the sign factor for specific accounts, like this, see it turns from negative to positive, but nothing happens with the total, so the sales, which is grouping up or summing up all the children. If you take off recalculate total, that's going to be reflected in this sum, and also the total that's coming from Power BI at the very bottom of the report. So the grand total is just summing up everything you add to the report, and based on the data, and taking off the recalculate total will affect the grand total itself. In conditional formatting, we've done some other improvements as well. So if you go to the column, you select the column header, you add conditional formatting, you get this format pane, and in here you can say that the actuals should be greater than 0, or you can specify that the row option is cost or is not cost, the sign factor is inverted or not, and expansion is allowed or not. So if I say it's a cost, and then actuals is greater than 0, that should be a red background. Then I can apply this, and right now nothing happens. But if I go into cost of goods, because these are costs, I can right click this, I can select set row options, and I can tag these with an isCost tag. I can do this with the same, and do the same thing with the other cost rows that I have, like that. And now the order of these steps is important, so I should move this step to the last part, so the sign has been, or the option has been set first, and then it's going to be the formatting is applied afterwards. So now you see all of these are highlighted because we have that part of the conditions. It's tagged as isCost. So that's a way you can specify that parts of your P&L structure that consists of cost rows, others are income rows. You can tag them to differentiate them, and you can then use those tags in conditional formatting to apply different formatting to positives and negative numbers of the various groups. So for instance, if we look at the difference column, it's my actual minus my budget. If my income is less than the budget, it's a negative difference on income, which is a bad thing, so that should be red. But if my expenses are less than my budget, it means I haven't spent as much as I will plan to, which is a good thing, because it's on the bottom line of your report, it's going to be a positive change. So that should be green. So both are negative numbers, but they should be treated differently because of the type of row this is. So you can tag them with style and set row options, or you tag them with a category in row options, and you can use those categories in conditional formatting to apply the formatting where you want it. So commenting has been available since our previous release, but now we've done some improvements. So you can go to the format pane and turn on comments, and you get the bubble in this corner. You can specify the position of the bubble or the icon. You can hide it, so it's not showing up on your PDFs or your presentations, but it's there when you hover over, so you can still use it. And you can specify a date format, which is the timestamp of the comments you add. You can also specify how what the icon should look like, so you can make it transparent. So if it's on top of something else, you'll only see the bubble and not the ring. Or you can add a border to it, and you can specify a size. So you can make it small, so it doesn't really conflict with anything else, or you can make it large so people see it, depending on your use case in your report. When you add a comment, you can specify a header now, so it doesn't have to be a specific value. It can be a header, a department, or a row. Let's see if I discard this, select cost of goods, and then this comment will be, do this, then you see there's a comment on this row itself. So if I change the year or I change the department, the comment will still be there as part of the row header. We also have some formatting options available for the comments, so I can specify which color, background color it should have. So let's do this green, and then save that. So now it's a green comment. If I add a new one to my budget header, I have my recent colors, so I can pick the ones already used if you want to stay consistent, or you can specify a new one, and add that. Now the colors are there, very bright in this case, but they are now kind of differentiated, so you can have different colors for different types of comments or different departments, or depending on your use. And you can change the colors and save the change. And you see the update, and this is today's date, and it's using this date format. So I can change it to a different one, and then it's different. So depending on your use case, your region, how you want this to look, you can change it depending on what you want. I'm gonna add one more comment to this. This is, author. And you can also select some text and do some of these text formatting with them, and then apply that. And you see the formatting is there. Now another improvement we've done is that if I now turn on download to Excel, the icon is here. If I download this and I call it download comments, and you can see the comments are still here, right? So you see the same icon. The only thing is that you need to make them a bit bigger. So if I right click and I can do show notes, and I can select this. So we're working on improving this, but you can see the text is here. So if you export it, it's going to be kind of kept as notes. And the formatting is also in place. What we don't have is a background color, but that's not something we can export. So it's you get the timestamp, you get the author, you get the comments, and you get the formatting of the text, which is pretty cool. Another improvement is you have these expansion symbols. They're plus, and when you expand them, you get a minus to collapse them. But we had some users who started their row names or the header names with a plus or minus depending on how they contributed to the bottom line. So that would mean it said plus sales, and it said plus minus cost. It looked a bit strange. So we have added a new option under row expansion called expand icon settings, and here you can specify which shape you want for the expansion symbols. So plus minus is what you see right now, the default one. You can add a triangle, you can choose an arrow, diamond, some different icons here, square and circle. So now if you click on these, they expand and they change depending on which shape you have. So a triangle will just flip. And you can also now specify which color you want for the expansion symbols. And you can choose the size, because someone made the Power BI canvas so big that everything looked very small. And these expansion symbols were very hard to hit. But now you can make them as big as you want and easier to hit. So if you miss now, it's not on us. A small improvement, but for some this is really useful. So next is custom indent. It means that if you go to edit mode, and if I expand on a level, the next level will be indented by a specific number of pixels, and that's set by the indent setting under row expansion. So now it's 10 pixels. If you increase this to 50, you'll see the counts move 50 pixels to the left of where the parent started. So you always have the chance to specify how far the next level should be indented compared to the parent. But now you also have the option to take existing rows on the same level. All of these are on the same level. You can take existing rows like this, and you can set the indent size. So the default will be where the indent is from the left side. So the top level will be at 0 pixels indented. And if you specify this to be 20 or 50, it will move. And if you expand this group you'll see the child of this group will be at 10 because that's the default indent right here. So we don't recommend using this for categories or for rows with children, but if you do it for custom rows like this one, sorry, can't be negative, they will be moved with no issues, like this. You can also do it on a different level. So if I expand on sales again and I right click on this, I can indent it, and this is going to be indented by 10 as a default because it's next level, and each level will be indented 10 pixels. So I can either set this to 0, then it moves all the way to the left, or I can change it to 50, and then it's going to be moved inwards. So the default will always be the indent size multiplied with the level, so the number of levels you go down into the hierarchy. And you can set it to 0 to get it all the way to the left where the parents are. The next one is pin columns, and for this I need to add some more data to my column headers. So I'll add years and months, and let's add column expansion as well, so we can group some of these. Okay, so now I have all my columns in my column headers. If I want to pin some of these, so let's say if budget February, I can right click the budget. Sorry, I need to be in edit mode. So in edit mode, I can right click the budget for February and I can pin it like this. Now I get a step called pin column budget, and if I scroll, you'll see that my budget will be locked as the first column, and everything I'm scrolling is hidden behind that pinned column. And you get the full context of the hierarchy of the level. But if I collapse 2023, it's going to be collapsed inside of that group because it still belongs there. If I pin another column like the April budget, it's going to be added next to it. And since they have the same year as a parent, they'll be grouped under the 2023 header. But if I go to 2024 and pick another one, let's say the budget for June, then you see you get a different header group for this. So if you have some values you want to compare against the rest, so always want to see as a column or as a comparison, you can now pin them. If you want to unpin them, you find the step called pin column, and you see when you select the step, you get this triangle identifying which one it is, and you can delete it. You can also rename the step, because you see this pencil right here. If you click on this, you can say that this is pin April budget. Rename. So now it's named something that makes sense, easier to find in the list of otherwise similarly named steps. If you delete these, they won't be pinned anymore and you can scroll normally. But if I pin one of these and I go back to reading view, then it will look like it normally does, but this is still kind of kept as the first column. Now that we have column headers with expansion symbols, I can also show you a new improvement. We have added an option to change the size of the expansion symbol also for column headers. So you can set this as large as you want and then change the size. So it's the same with same as for the row header expansions. It's for some it was hard to hit, and now it's possible to make it bigger for those who can't find the smaller icons. And that concludes the feature preview for version 8.2. If you want to read more about these features, you can go into GitHub. You can find the link in the description. If you want to stay updated, then please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for watching.